Hey yo, what's up everyone? It's your boy CrispPurpose back at it again with another Gems of War Viability Ranking. Now this is part 2 to the Viability Ranking series that I started the other day. So we're going to be focusing on the new Glory troop that was added to the Glory Shop. That troop being Lord Archimedus. Now Lord Archimedus is a Forest of Thorns epic. Brown and yellow mana cost. His mana cost is actually 13. Um, and he is a monster beast. His troop role is a mage. Now we're going to be looking at the 5 different criteria to measure whether or not this troop is actually viable. We're going to put it in the team, and after we finish that, we're going to be giving it a viability ranking. So for one, we're going to be looking at the area of speed. Now in this area we examine whether or not the troop has a natural mana start, or if we can give it a 50% mana start from off of a hero class or from off of an additional troop. Now when we examine this troop, it being a monster beast, monsters in the game do not have a 50% mana start. And for itself, this troop does not have a 50% mana start in its traits. So its first trait is Beast Bond. Allied beasts gain 2 life, alert, immune to silence, and regeneration. Recover 1 life at the start of each turn. So from the speed's perspective, it doesn't have a half mana start from monsters, but it does have a half mana start from beasts. So that is interesting. That's a 1 for the side of Lord Archimedus. Interestingly though, the beast half mana start isn't from Forest of Thorns. I think it is from Magrim Woods. Thus, you are unable to half mana start this troop in a way that would benefit its spell, because the spell for the troop is Thunderous Screech. Deal a particular amount of scatter damage boosted by Forest of Thorns allies, then silence the first enemy. So the half mana start wouldn't actually benefit this troop since it's not from that particular kingdom, being from Forest of Thorns. So in that perspective, yes, you have a half mana start, but it's not from the kingdom. So it's a give and take situation there. You take a couple steps forward, then you take a couple steps backward when it comes on to this troop. Now, when we look at the category of immunities slash reductions to skull or spell damage, the only immunity that it does have is immunity to silence, which is good because it does silence the first enemy, so it would be a pretty ridiculous case if it would be silenced itself. So it does have that immunity to silence. But when it comes on to being a very durable troop, when it comes on to spell damage or reduction to skull damage, it's lacking in many different ways, especially when it comes on to other immunities, other different status effects opposed to silence. This troop will not be able to stand up against many other troops in the game. Now let's look at the troop's spell usefulness. Now this spell is very limited in that the boost ratio for this is only affected if there are other Forest of Thorn allies on the team. And as I said before, the half mana start for this troop is not from that kingdom, and many other monster troops do not have a half mana start. Thus, it makes it very difficult to get that boost ratio up. And even if you look at the boost ratio, which is an additional 6 damage for each Forest of Thorn ally, in total 4 different allies, including itself, it's not going to be able to give a very solid damage to the enemy team because of that very low boost ratio. And scatter damage, as I should make this clear as well, scatter damage is damage, as it says right there, deal an amount of damage randomly split up between all enemy troops. And when you do that, some troops can get a higher damage, some can get a lower damage, and plus if troops are submerged, they will bypass that damage altogether, so they will not be damaged whatsoever. So the spell usefulness is not there. It's not a very useful spell. Now let's look at the troop's mana. Let's check here. Its mana color and the mana cost. Mana cost is pretty low, 13. If you're able to half mana start that, it's about a 6.5 or 7 mana, which it actually needs so as to get spell ready. But once again, it comes down to how useful is this troop's spell so as to get its spell ready. It's not very useful whatsoever. So let's take a look at it in a team and see what we could come up with. So I did come up with this team right here, which has, for one, the Oaken Crown. The Oaken Crown is a Forest of Thorn weapon. It deals a particular amount of damage to an enemy, boosted by Forest of Thorn allies as well. Then it creates a mix of 6 green and yellow gems for each Forest of Thorn ally. And interestingly, we do have a hero class that benefits from this, which is the Archer class. And the Archer class has different traits that does actually benefit this troop to some extent, in that it does have Nature's Aura, which it will create a leaf storm at the start of the battle, and it will keep them entangled so that they can't skull damage you, as well as it does have Wall of Vines. All green allies will gain a particular amount of 5 armor, as well as it does have Dodge and Harvest Moon, which doesn't really benefit the team a bit. Interestingly though, a natural half mana start is in the Archer class, in that it does have fast start battles with 50% mana right there, and it does gain a little bit of life for each green ally. So I did come up with this team, including the Alderfather, which transforms all red gems to purple and all yellow gems to skulls, and then it can summon a particular troop. Interestingly, those troops as well are from the Forest of Thorn. So if any of the troops die on the team, the weapon will still produce the maximum amount of gems. As well, I do have yasmin'schosen. Yasmin'schosen deals a scatter damage as well, boosted by entangled enemies. And then it creates 10 green gems. Now, the final trait for Yasmin'schosen, it has Wild Vines. Entangle a random enemy when matching green gems. And the weapon is creating green gems along with Yasmin'schosen herself. She will be creating 10 green gems on the board. And there's the troop of the week at the bottom. Alright, so we're just going to take a look at this in an Explore 12 scenario and see how it actually works out. Let's hop right into it. So our first assignment here is to get our Oaken Crown powered up, and there we go. And already we have entangled 2 of the enemy troops. Now let's cast it right here. We didn't get a 4+ gem match, and our Alderfather is stunned. All right, so let's see if we can match some gems here. And the benefit of the Archer class is that it does have that root trap, so they're entangled, so they can't do much damage to us. Now we do have our Alderfather up. Let's see if we have some alignment for his spell. He transforms red gems to purple and yellow gems to skulls. Yellow gems to skulls, we have a 3 right here, and red gems to purple, we don't really have anything that much. But let's see if we can get our additional troop up. So yeah, we did get Bullseye right there. It's a 15% chance for skull damage to be lethal, and we just killed off the first enemy. Let's check to see if we can get something done from the troop at the bottom. Let's match this here. Now let's cast our Alderfather. No, our Yasmin'schosen. Now let's cast this troop right here. We got a kill. Not bad. Now let's see if we can get our Oaken Crown up. The best thing about it is that the Alderfather produces one of the colors that feeds back into the Oaken Crown. So that actually helps. But overall, what I'm getting from this is that this troop is not going to be very useful going forward in the game, based on the fact that its spell is not very potent. Let's cast this. And it doesn't really have much when it comes on to traits. And now let's cast on. Now one last hit and this troop should be out of here. Let's check the board. Alright, let's match that big green to the top. Now cast our Alderfather. Yeah, so because it doesn't have a half mana start in the kingdom, which it needs to boost this spell, it's very underwhelming, and overall that spell doesn't have the necessary boost ratio to make this a very potent troop. Now there is one place though where you could actually use this troop this week, and it is right here. Let this game load up real quick so I can show it to you. It is in the world event. So it is a Forest of Thorns week. So if you do go to the world event, you can actually use this exact team setup that I just showed you with the Oaken Crown, Alderfather, Yasmin's Chosen, and Lord Archimedus. You can actually use it in this week's world event. It will be pretty useful at the early stage. Later on though, you will need more medals so as to be able to create a significant amount of damage to the enemy team. Otherwise, it's going to fall off, and you're going to need to change this troop out for a better, more potent troop. Now, as I said before, there are other teams that you could possibly make out of this. Let me go to my troops menu right here. You could have a setup that has it on all monsters, so Scorpius, along with the Great Maw, and the monster class, which is Dervish. As you can see, the monster class Dervish, it has that final trait of giving all monster allies 2 to all skills on 4 or 5 gen matches, as well as Scorpius, all brown allies gain 1 to all stats at the start of each turn. So you could boost it up somewhat with this team setup here, but once again, it's nothing overwhelming that's really going to get you a fast win, or sometimes you might even lose a troop because of how slow it is. So when we look at this troop based on its speed, based on its immunities / reductions to skull and spell damage, its spell usefulness, along with its type of troop and its mana color and cost, we're going to be giving this troop a viability ranking of D. It barely passes. It can be used in some scenarios, but truly it is not a very viable troop. There are much better options in the game when it comes down to scatter damage. In fact, if you go to Forest of Thorns, let's see here. That's not Forest of Thorns. Let's check. Let's go down and let's check all the troops here. The most potent troop for scatter damage is right here, Rowan. So if you want a scatter damage method that's actually really solid, that's really gonna hit really hard, and it has a definite way to boost its spell, go for Rowan. You can boost up the armor in this as high as you want, and it hits really, really hard. You can do this from a low magic level, and you can do this from a high magic level. So as I said before, overall this troop gets a D, a barely passing grade, because you can use it in some teams, but overall it's not a very viable troop. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please leave a like, comment as well. Tell me what you feel about this video. Tell me what you feel about this new troop. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notification bells so that you actually get notified whenever I drop videos about Explore 12, about PvP, Guild Wars, and any new troops that enter the game for this viability ranking. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.